Harman's got a brand new film and it's a little weird. Phoenix 200 is a daylight balanced C41 color negative film available in 35mm format. Harman's been working at it for about a year, and it was released on December 1st, 2023. Harman's going out of their way to describe this as an experimental film, letting you know it's not going to be perfect, your results might be a little funky, and it's limited edition. They're actually going to take the proceeds of the sale of this film and apply it to fund research and development of their next color film. So what's so weird about this film? Well, first of all, the physical look of the film itself. The base is yellow-greenish, there's no orange mass, and when it's developed, the negatives take on a purple hue. Now there's been a lot of talk about how different scanners can give you wildly different looks on this film, so when I asked my local lab if they had a Frontier or Noritsu scanner, they said neither. They've got an Agfa, so I was curious to see how this old Agfa scanner would handle this film. Well, it turns out it couldn't. It wouldn't recognize the developed negatives as color film. They said they could maybe try to scan it as black and white, but I didn't see much point in that, so I just grabbed my negatives and scanned it at home with my Epson V550 using Epson Scan 2 software with zero problems. Okay, so what about the images themselves? The grain is insane. Super heavy grain, high contrast, a little halation, pretty low resolution, almost looks kind of like an expired film. It's got a very limited dynamic range, so you're going to get the best results by shooting it in even lighting. Speaking of results, I'm going to share mine with you now. Harman rates this as a 200 ISO film. Some of the early examples of these images I saw looked a little muddy and underexposed, so I decided to shoot mine at 100 in my Canon Rebel T2. Now for the subject matter, I headed to the town of Fairborn, Ohio, because they have an old theater there called the Fairborn Phoenix, which I thought would be perfect for this role. Plus, they've got a lot of other cool stuff to shoot in Fairborn too. Stick around after these images and I'll share my thoughts on whether Harman Phoenix 200 is worth the price of admission. Pretty crunchy images. I blew out the highlights in some of these shots. I did overexpose at ISO 100. Next time I might try maybe ISO 125. But overall, as an experimental film, I kind of dig the look. I got mine locally for $13.99 US, which is the suggested retail price. And if you haven't bought film in a while, that might sound maybe a little bit high, but in today's market, that actually puts it at the middle of the pricing for color film. So in my view, at $13.99, I think that's a fair price. If you're looking for a super accurate color film with broad dynamic range and low grain, you may be disappointed in this film. But if you look at more as an experimental film, kind of like a Lomo film, like maybe something like Metropolis, then I think you can have a lot of fun with this film. Honestly, I think the biggest reason to buy Phoenix 200 is something I mentioned before. Sales of this film are going to fund the future of color films from Harman, and I can't wait to see what they come up with next. If you want to see more videos about new films like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel where I've got almost 300 videos all about film photography with many more to come. Until next time, do some good, have some fun, and shoot some film.